Hi, my name is Sammy Bradar, Associate Editor for the National Provisioner. I'm here with Jeff Terpishin, CEO of Grass-Fed Foods. So today we're going to discuss Teton's kids line of products a little bit. So I know that we've previously had a discussion at the recent annual meat conference from this year. Can you expand on why Teton decided to launch this line of grass-fed and veggie blended products?
Yeah, first, thanks for taking the time, Samantha. I appreciate it.
Yes.
The genesis of this is not really hard to understand if you kind of get out of your meathead and get into a parent, a grandparent, or maybe even a clinician. When you look at kids today, and they're a little more sedentary lifestyle, and their eating choices are changing from a little more wholesome to things that people are manufacturing. And whether you like or don't like that, it's having an impact on the health of that consumer group. Kids today are the degree of childhood obesity today has doubled in the last 20 years, and it's going to double again. So in 20 years, so 2040, 1 in 2 kids in America will be clinically obese. And if you go, that's 45 million children. And if you look at, well, what's the cost of that? And I don't mean in dollars. The cost is that of those, 85% of the kids that are clinically obese develop type 2 diabetes. And that's NIH studies. That's, a pretty sound thing. And so you look at that and go, well, that's my grandchildren. That's someone else's children or nephews and nieces or neighbors. And you go, well, that just seems like we should do something if you can. And so our thinking is just, could we not take products that kids already like, a hot dog, a hamburger, a corn dog, a meatball, things like that, and just say, well, what if we removed some of the things that are adding to the childhood obesity and giving parents kind of these convenient, easy ways to help combat that? And so we decided blending in the vegetables gives a little bit of vegetables, but it also lowers things that are beneficial. So combination of grass-fed beef, its benefits, the vegetable benefits, which are carrots, butternut, squash, and mushrooms, just that kind of introduction. So reasonable vegetables, lowers the sodium, lowers the fat, doesn't modify the mouthfeel, doesn't make it less appealing. In fact, we did blind taste tests just with kind of our friends and family just to see how they respond, like you do. And more often than not, we had them picking the child product, the kids line. And which we gave them some ribbing about that, but I picked it too. It adds a dimension, a complexity of taste that is better. And so we felt this bit of it's a need that parents have today, which is, what do you arm them with to feed the kids better? And today kids eat what they want, and that tends to be macaroni and cheese, peanut butter and jelly, a chicken nugget, things like that. And now we're going to give them 4 additional things, 3 that go in the freezer, so it's kind of easy and convenient, and 1's a refrigerated hot dog. So we're just trying to provide some easy, affordable things that help those parents help the kids.
Definitely. And you mentioned the vegetable options are mushroom, squash, and carrots as well. Yeah. So why did you guys go with these options? Why these vegetables?
Yeah, so from a construction of product standpoint, you have to have the ability to have the product look like a hot dog, taste like a hot dog. So it can't visually have things that might turn a child off. You can't have it have a mouthfeel where they go, well, that's not what I'm used to. And so those vegetables, and we utilized others, but those vegetables, when emulsified, when ground into the meat, became something that we couldn't identify visually nor tactically. We did not try it and go, we didn't do that. We weren't trading down, because kids aren't going to care if it has vegetables, and they're not going to care if it's better for them. They're going to care if it tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
And parents are only going to buy it if the kids eat it. And so we worked with child nutritionists to make sure we had the nutrition part. We worked with local school district to get their insight into kids, and not just kind of ours, but thousands of them. And that helped us get to a spot where we feel very confident today.
Okay, thank you. And where are these products available for parents to purchase?
So the product line launches in September, because that's National Childhood Obesity Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some people other than us. I mean, we're a small company. There, like Michelle Obama has a message and products that she's saying, gosh, these are the kinds of things kids should eat. We have nothing to do with her doing that, but boy, she's a big person. She's a person that people listen to. And the goal here is to have parents help their kids make a life change. And so we want to do it at the right time. So we've talked with other companies, customers of ours, and they're very supportive. And so we'll see the product in distribution in various parts of the United States, September, October, November, and then much, much more right after the first of the year, right after they get through with the holidays and the products they put on the shelf during the holidays, and on menus. So we should see it on national menus, and we should see it kind of, from the East Coast to the West Coast in the first half of next year.
Okay, so this is both retail and food service national distribution.
Very exciting. We had, and I can't tell you until they're ready, because it's their news, not ours, but we have people that are substantial in our industry that affect thousands of menus and thousands of grocery stores. And they kind of, you could see them as they listen to this, and as we share the kind of health problems that are associated with type 2 diabetes. The mortality rate of children that get type 2 diabetes is 3 times that of an average American adult.
Yeah.
And you just kind of go, we can't make them move around more and be more active, but at least we can feed them a little better.
Yeah.
So this is going to take a lot of people to do this, but you could see these folks that have much greater reach than we do saying, so I could do something very simple. I could add a Teton Taste Bud hot dog to a kid's menu, and that's easy. And we said, it replaces something else. We're not asking them to do something that they don't do. Almost all of them have a child's menu.
Yeah.
We're asking grocers, both in the refrigerated case and the freezer case, if you sell a lot of chicken nuggets, we have 3 other items that would be companions in that thought process for a parent. And in the hot dog case, which most people don't look at the hot dog case and say, well, that's very healthful.
Mm-hmm.
This says, well, that's not the way it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
These products have no sugar added. They have half the fat, 1/3 less sodium, no antibiotics. And those are things as a parent, or in my case, grandparent, I'm going, why would I not pick that for my grandkids?
Yeah.
Assuming they'll eat it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're putting it in a hot dog and a hamburger and things they like.
Yeah, definitely. It shouldn't have to be unhealthy and good tasting. It can be healthy and good tasting.
Yeah. I mean, if you're exactly right. If you make that the goal, then yes, I think a lot of times we say, well, that's hard. And if it was easy, I know we would all do it. But when we're talking about children and the balance of their life, I think it requires harder work on our part.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Looking at, so it's veggie blended and grass fed. So what benefits would you say to consumers does the grass fed meat have over the grain fed?
Yeah, so look, I'm a grain-fed, born and raised person, so you'll hear nothing negative about grain finished beef from me. But there are differences,
Mhm.
and there is a growing percent of younger consumers today that have said different. They said, I want organic products, I want organic produce, organic milk, I want whole grain, things that are different than I grew up. And they're
Mhm.
buying more and more things as they become more economically empowered. And so grass fed has become just bigger because those consumers are going, whether they want a healthier planet through the animals being raised on grass their entire life, kind of a pasture raised system, their entire life, not up until the end when you switch them to grain. And so that component of a healthier planet is a huge driver, regenerative agriculture.
Mhm.
The second part of personal health is really kind of is in all candor, a personal thing. So it has things like high omega-3s. So if you have medical issues where you're saying, I'm trying to introduce greater number of omega-3s, CLAs, different vitamin and mineral package at a higher concentration, things like that, you go, okay, that helps me. Instead of going to pharmaceuticals for an answer,
Mhm.
you're able to say, I'll just change my diet. And as grass-fed becomes more consistent, so the eating experience is not a compromise. It used to be where you could have a great experience followed by a poor one and go, I'm not doing that again.
Mhm.
Today, and we work very hard to get the genetics similar, to get the land that they're raised on, so the grass that they eat similar, so that steak to steak or burger to burger or hot dog to hot dog, you would go, I can't taste any difference. And when I eat it, I do like it.
Mhm.
Then you're saying, well, what benefits do I get? And that list, in fact, I can send them to you. It is a list that I have this much appreciation for. The nutritionists have this much. And we've talked with some medical educators at Harvard and said, can you explain to us? And they provided us with their studies about the health benefits, longitudinal health benefits of grass-fed. They sent those. I didn't understand very much of it at all. And so we've just asked them to go ahead and we'll post what they're going to tell us on our website, because there's no chance I can repeat that. But
Mhm.
their studies show a difference in the feed, in the muscle, and what that delivers and what that does not deliver on a plate.
Definitely. Well, and if younger consumers are opting for these organic grass-fed products, younger consumers are now becoming parents and all these
Absolutely.
going to be buying that for their kids. So that's a great
Well,
market to have.
and I think a perfect example of that is you look at people as they age. Initially, it was milk. Then there was a group that said, no, I want organic milk. And they said, well, who for? And they go, for the kids.
Mhm.
And now there's oat milk and grass-fed milk and all iterations, as people are saying, there are claims and things I believe in, and I want to see it on the package. And I want to believe it. I mean, USDA today just announced their new regulations and on claims. And so on animal care claims, but nonetheless, they're trying to tighten those up because some people say that's really important to me. And I'm
Mhm.
going to base my consumer purchase on that. And so to me, grass fed is exactly where natural and organic was 20 years ago.
Definitely.
People's willingness to spend a premium is already well established.
Yeah. Well, especially if people are willing to spend that in an inflationary environment, that's a testament to
Yeah.
how strong a demand there is for it.
Well, and our business, you would never look at the growth of our business in the last year and say, oh, that was during a recession.
Yeah.
That's just not true. Our hot dog, our sausages, our breakfast sausages are up over 100%
Wow.
at the same stores, not like, well, a new store. So you go, well, that's why you're up. These
Yeah.
are at the same locations. And I think a lot of it is the taste, is
Mhm.
there was a consumer that said, regardless of taste, I'll buy this. That's not me.
No.
Then there's the consumer, because we've upgraded lots of our flavor profiles and just attention to detail, the grind size, the casings, things like that. And I think as a consumer tries that and says, wow, I get the benefits and it tastes like I'm not trading down or excusing it in any way. Our hot dog, believe it or not, was just rated the best tasting hot dog, and it beat the grain finished and beef and pork blended and all those kinds of things. And ours is 100% grass fed.
Mhm.
So diets and palates are changing.
Yeah, definitely. That's really great. It's great that you guys were able to experience so much growth in this environment because I
Yeah.
mean, it's hard for everybody right now. So that's amazing.
It is. But I think what's driving that too is there are smart customers out there. So our customers, smart grocers, restaurateurs, club, and so on, that are saying this isn't about what they think. This is about what consumers are demanding.
Mhm.
And I was on a call this morning with one of them, and they said, Trip, at the end of the day, if I don't do this, if I don't add a line like yours, I'm going to send that consumer somewhere else.
Mhm.
And across their consumers, they're going, I can't afford to send them down the street. And so the question really is it Teton or another? Is it Sunfed or another one? That's what they're choosing. It's not if they're going to have grass fed or something like that. The consumers are saying, if you don't, I'll shop elsewhere. We saw that 15, 20 years ago when people said, I don't like that natural stuff, or I don't want that organic stuff.
Mhm.
And you can see the dramatic growth of places that embraced it.
Mhm. Yeah. You have to be willing to embrace the shifts, embrace the change, all of that. So,
Because if you're the last one that does it, the consumers have already changed their behavior.
mhm.
If they switch to another location and then you say, okay, fine, I'll listen to you now, they've already changed their behavior and you are not financially rewarded. And I think that they learned that. Most of our customers learned that lesson 10 and 15 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. And they're not going to make the same mistake again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Looking at the products in the line, I know that you're launching in September, so it's a bit early to talk about new products in the line, but are you planning to launch any other products? Because I know, 4 is still a great line, but I know that there are plenty of kids items that you might be able to innovate within this.
Yeah. So the answer is yes. I will purposely not provide details because
That's
we
okay.
have competitors that are listening, and while I want all the kids to benefit, I'd like to be the primary one giving that to them.
Definitely, yes.
If you look at what they eat, our competitors are smart too. And so if you look at what kids eat and how they eat it, you'd go, all we're doing is supplanting a better protein for the one they're eating.
Mhm.
That's all. And so if you said, well, what else do kids eat? Well, they eat pizzas that have topping. They eat breakfast items, be it a burrito or something there. They eat on the go, even if they're not physically going somewhere. They sure don't want to sit at the table necessarily with the rest of the family and eat that conventional meal.
Mhm.
And so being able to be closer to what they do and simply go, I'm still going to give you what you like to eat, the way you like to eat it, where you want to eat it. I'm just going to upgrade that piece of beef, be it ground beef, when they're making tacos and they're putting the seasonings, all that, you go, you parents don't have to advertise they're doing this. They can just say, I've upgraded the meat in that taco. And so can the restaurants. And so
Mhm.
can everyone can say, if it doesn't cost that much more and the benefit to the consumer is that great, why would I not at least offer it?
Definitely.
And I think that's the next step. It's our turn to give it to that customer, and it's that customer's time to decide if they're going to help those kids or not.
Sure. Well, and back at the annual meat conference, I remember you saying that, this doesn't have to just be for kids.
Right.
And you were talking about maybe launching this in a university format, which, as I wasn't in school that long ago. And so thinking about my own diet and the diet of those around me, I'm like, that's probably something that's needed, something like that, where
Yeah.
there's that added value.
Yeah,
So where's that at? Where are you in the works of launching in university formats?
sure. So we're working right now with two of our customers that service the better part of 100 colleges in the US and universities in the US. So we're going to offer this, but the initial feedback we've received, and they're smarter than we are, so they know their consumers better than we do. But what they said to us is grass-fed's attributes and the ability to help the environment, that kind of regenerative component, is so large that they said the other part, the kind of the health benefits for the person, they said as a college student, are secondary.
Mm.
Not inconsequential, but secondary. So they said, we're happy with a grass-fed hot dog, a grass-fed hamburger, and those kinds of things. So we'll still offer it. The bigger issue, Samantha, is we have the ability to go to different consumer groups with that same personal health package.
Yeah.
Lower sodium, lower fat, no antibiotics, and say, well, wait a minute, why don't we help them? So if you said, how about the 50 plus crowd that today goes to a doctor, the doctor says, take these medications or eat a salad. And that person is faced with three choices: eat a salad they don't want to eat, take the medication, or just say, no, I'll suffer the consequences. So I view that as the next group for us. Is I want to be able to say, well, we should talk to those people and see if we can offer them a solution that would give them a fourth option. Eat the same things, just like with the kids, eat a hot dog, a hamburger, eat those things, and just eat one that has half the fat, third less sodium, no antibiotics, high CLAs, high omega-3s, things for mental acuity, for eyesight, all things proven in all grass-fed beef, not just ours, all grass-fed beef have those benefits. And say to a group of people that are trying to self-medicate, if they can, and give them an option that they'll actually enjoy eating, that doesn't break the bank. So I think that's going to be bigger than the colleges. The colleges are going to buy grass-fed because the kids want to save the planet, and grass-fed's much better at that than conventional grain finished.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, when I had heard about it, I was like, oh my God, the health benefits, everyone that I had seen at my university ate so poorly. I'm like, oh, that'll be a great reason, but that's interesting.
You could be right. We just talked to the culinary directors, and they said to go from what they're serving to a grass-fed version is such a good big leap.
Yeah.
In a positive direction, that they were like, that's good enough.
Yeah.
And I said, that's fine. We have a lot of those products.
Yeah.
And we had the folks from Harvard, quite frankly, that said, how about the 50 plus group?
Yeah.
And we said, what do you tell us? And after they got finished talking, even though in all candor, I feel much more compassion for children than I do 50 plus. 50 plus, you're supposed to know better. Take care of yourself. But a child depends on the adults to make good decisions for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's on us.
Definitely. Well, we're just about wrapped up with my questions for you today, but is there anything else about this line in particular or Teton's products in general that you'd like to share with the Provisioner audience?
Look, I'm not going to preach to a group that I've, spent 40 years of my career with. But what I would say is that I think the more I do this, the more I see consumers today being so much more engaged.
Mm,
In the past, this was food and it delivered calories and, maybe said a little bit about your affluence. And today that's not the role. The group that is more affluent and larger is demanding things that we never talked about. And most leaders of our industry are older. And so it's not them. They need to listen to these people that are driving past a store or a restaurant or many stores and many restaurants to get to the one that offers them the claims they want.
sure,
And we need to be aware of that.
definitely.
The most prized customers today that we all talk about were largely not in existence 25 years ago. Just think of, if I said, what's the number one natural food chain, or number two, what are the most progressive and fast growing restaurant chains in the country? And when did they start? You would go, about 20, 25 years ago. And you go, right. So anything before that had antiquated thinking, and you're seeing them quickly try to catch up. Products like this help from us or others.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. It was great to talk about this line again. And I just appreciate your time today so much. So I am Sammy Bradar, Associate Editor for the National Provisioner, speaking with Jeff Trapishan, CEO of Grass-Fed Foods. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for your time.